Hi there. My name is Austin Ruby, and I'm currently a senior at Bend High. As for my future plans, I plan on going to Montana State, where I intend to go into the field of chemical engineering. Uh, as for my personal life, I like skiing, lacrosse, and any outdoor activities. No wonder you're thinking that I should probably be here right now, but I'm not due to kind of an inconvenience due with timing with the showcase tonight and a lacrosse playoff game. So I've decided to go to the lacrosse playoff game. With that said, let's get into my project. So basically, in this engineering design and development class conducted by Mr. Myers, we're tasked to innovate a pair of skis. So naturally, I wanted to innovate a pair of skis. In order to figure out exactly what this innovation would be, I decided to conduct kind of a survey to find some results of some kind. And I took this survey at the ski swap this year, and I found that 85% of skiers have skied within the last year, and 75% of these skiers who have skied in the past year have also skied primarily on Mount Bachelor. With a little bit of background knowledge, which is helpful, I found that 90% of skiers really enjoy powder skiing, and 80% that I questioned have indeed found it difficult to make sharp turns and cuts with powder skis due to their dimensions. And 75% of those also agreed that powder skis tend to be too heavy, naturally, with the amount of material that they had. So, this produced the general problem statement on my poster. 80% of people I surveyed at the ski swap agreed that the general power skis enable difficulty in turning, and 75% again agree that powder skis are too heavy. After creating the problem statement, the next task was basically to find ways to solve this problem. So, as you can see from the problem statement, 80% of people find that powder skis are difficult to turn in. This I found was due to the shape of the ski. So essentially, I drew out a couple of concept sketches, as you can see on the poster right here. Uh, this can be fixed by making the ski look more like an hourglass. And what this does is it forces an early taper and it creates a skinnier waist. And this creates a smaller turning radius. A smaller turning radius allows one to turn much easier on powder than it would be to have a large turning radius. This diagram will help see what I'm talking about. Uh, as for fixing the weight component, there were many weight reduction methods. On my poster, you can see that I used tip fill. That definitely reduces the weight as it reduces the amount of fiberglass and epoxy used. And there were also additional weight reducing methods such as a hand sanded core. While this does increase flexibility, which is not a bad thing for powder skis, um, it helps weight reduction as there is less material involved in the ski. So from there, there is also one other method of reducing the weight of the ski, and this would be the use of resin. In the prototype, there was a lot of use of extra resin as there was no way to filter it out to get rid of that excess. These weight reduction methods on the poster are not applied to the prototype, but they will be applied to my final pair of skis in construction. Uh, as for the concept sketches, they were applied to the prototype. So as I go into creating my final pair of skis, it will be easier to reduce the weight as to filter out the excess resin. From the use of kind of a programming software, we were able to get baseline constraints, but they are not the ones shown on the poster. These were constraints for our test run skis, to get the general process down and understand what we are doing. So after these skis were created, we assessed what happened, what went wrong, what went well. Overall, things went well. The skis were created and they were mounted, and they didn't snap when I tried to use them. The only problem with actually testing them was on the mountain. The snow was really sticky and uh, wet and slushy, so it was really hard to assess if they were good skis or not. But in addition to that, they seemed to work very well, but there were a couple things that need to be fixed, such as, uh, I guess, setbacks. So for setbacks, I can say that there is definitely a time constraint this year. So the guy who helped us set up uh, our shop and make this all possible, Michael from Community Skis, he, of course, owning his own business, was not able to lend us his full attention, which is fine. But there was definitely a time constraint on all the work that we've done this year. So this year we've only created one pair of skis, which was a test run, and they seem to have problems. And these problems come in the form of excess resin that went under the wet lay, which is the image. So as you can see here, there are ripples under the wet lay. And we also had problems such as the tip to the core. And in this picture, it's not hard. It's kind of hard to tell, but the image gets darker as you go from the core to the tip. But it's true that happens. I saw it on the tip of my ski. And also, there's that big old ridge that essentially creates a big crease. And then there's also the problem of sanding. It was very hard to tell going through the first time how much I should sand when going over the PTEX. So from this picture, it's easy to tell that I sanded too much and I had to patch where I had sanded the PTEX off. So in order to improve on these problems, there's going to be, of course, again, PTEX or tip fill, and this will reduce weight. Um, and we have different methods of using resin now, so there it doesn't require sanding as much, and it doesn't require so much as to leave ripples under the image. And as for the crease from the core to the tip, that can be fixed by previously sanding down the core a lot more as to come flush with the tip to the core. So those are basically things to consider going into my next pair of skis. I would like to emphasize that the skis shown on the poster are in fact prototypes, and this project is not done. Uh, from here into the end of the year, I will have made my actual innovative pair of skis, and I don't know if I'll be able to test them, but that comes with the problem of a time constraint this year. Uh, I have high expectations for next year's ski builders, as processes should be ready to go and up to date, and from there they'll be able to test and finish their projects on time. Thank you for listening to my presentation. If you enjoyed, please leave a card. Thank you.